We're living in an extremely ominous and dangerous period of history. Never before has the human race been so well armed and ready for war. In the eyes of many, it is only a question of time until they will be exploded in warfare. How much longer do we have? No one knows. Events are now tumbling upon events.
So why?
Time travel, parallel universes, alternate realities, the deja vu and time slip phenomena, UFOs, near-death experiences, and false memories. Are these all aspects of time travel? How do they all tie together and exist? Our guests...
This is it. This is the pinpoint. And for me, maybe it's because I'm a Romanian, but for me, everything depends on this one pinpoint spot on a long historical spectrum. And here we are, and this is my watch. That's what I always say to people. I'm not going to sit aside during my watch. Well, that's crazy. This is my watch. I'm going to work.
Nikola Tesla, a man.
The dark side of Tesla's technology. We all know the vision that Tesla had planned for the world, free energy and free communications. And had his vision come true, the world would be a lot different of a place today. Well, what I want to talk about here today is how some of Tesla's greatest inventions that we think never came to fruition actually have come to fruition, but in the hands of people who he never intended that technology to be in the hands of. And this technology did, in fact, fall into enemy hands called the United States government, hands of, and has been used in ways that Tesla never intended to be used. And this is what it's been used to do, to create a world that is basically on lockdown and under complete control.
Surveillance beyond comprehension, all the way down to the DNA. They want those nanobots in our bodies. These are the little towers inside us that will give complete control, not only over our body, but over our brains. And the surveillance is not, don't think satellites and things up in the sky. Think your cell towers and the Gwen towers and the NexRads across the nation. And now think of the little heavy metals inside your bloodstream that are turning your entire body into, it's always been an electric tower, our bodies. Our bodies are transmitters and receivers. But now, with the heavy metals in there that are highly conductive, and living in a wireless environment with masses of waves moving through us all the time, even in remote areas, we have to think that this is part of the surveillance system. These are the little towers inside us that will give complete control, not only over our body, but over our brains. And this is what they're heading toward. The space fence is very much connected to transhumanism and the so-called singularity that they believe is coming.
Right.
They are working hard to transform the Earth plane into something unnatural, artificial. The privacy, what's that with the telecommunications industry? And meanwhile, everybody's just kind of stood around and watched it. Just my. Or maybe they call their legislator. Oh, that's going to do a lot of good. We've ingested all these heavy metals and the microprocessors and the sensors and all these biologically engineered experiments that we're also ingesting on the nano scale. Now it's pulse a frequency for anger. Mm-hmm. You can pulse a frequency for violence. You can pulse a frequency for I don't care. Who cares? In fact, the first Tesla machine that was operant back in the 70s. And who did they target? Well, they targeted Oregon. And they were able to raise the suicide rate in Eugene to I can't remember the percentage, but it was very marked. Experiment with the weather engineering going on, learning to use the radio frequency and microwaves to move weather systems, to move the jet stream, the electric stream. So all of this has been going on. And now they know enough. And meanwhile, they're telling us, oh, we've got global warming, we've got climate change, we've got all these terrible things. We're thinking we might have to do some geoengineering, but we really hope we won't. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, it's already full blown.
Right.
Full blown. And now they bring the space fence because they're ready.
Well, that's
tapped with some radio frequency, or maybe just what's already in our ionized atmosphere, and then they spread out. And sometimes you'll see them where they have even serrations in them, and then you know that something's being pulsed. A signal is being pulsed through those clouds, for communications or for whatever, to activate certain chemicals that were laid. This is a huge ongoing operation. People coming forward with their spiritual stuff. I mean, I feel bad about that. But it's like, what else have you got? Great. I'm glad you have that. Now, what else have you got? And can you tie what you just told me to that? That's what I want.
Elitists that feed them, though, are very religious. How do you think they got to where they are? The one who steps out and says, I'm an atheist or an agnostic is the fool of all fools.
We're living in an extremely ominous and dangerous period of history. Never before has the human race been so well armed and ready for war. In the eyes of many, it is only a question of time until they will be exploded in warfare. How much longer do we have? No one knows. Events are now tumbling upon events.
The elite, the movers and the shakers at the top, pull the strings on both sides of the border. They pull the strings. They fund the warring parties. They fund this side and they fund that side. The elite MO is to go in and literally tear down and destroy as much as they possibly can, create all the chaos that they can possibly create, and then rebuild it into this one world utopian government. Right now, in the United States of America, they are attacking.
We're living in an extremely ominous and dangerous period of history.